I am here with my friend Sarah from Torch Trust. Hello, Sarah.
Hi, Andy. It's lovely to be back on Pure 24/7.
Indeed, it is. And actually, we've had an interview. We've been to your wonderful building, and I still love that it's Torch Trust Torch Way. I love the street sign.
Yeah, well, we got to name it. So with that was a plot of land, and we then got to name it. So it was Torchway. So you'll have noticed that even the chemist next door is called Torchway Pharmacy.
I just, I love that little landmark of life
Yeah.
that points to you, which is great. So since we've met, and since we came down to you at your HQ and met all your lovely people on your coffee morning, how was Christmas and New Year for you as a team?
Yeah, Christmas and New Year, the lead up to Christmas is always really busy, because we shut down for just under 2 weeks, and so people wanting to have orders of things in and carol sheets, and the Bethlehem carol sheet that you might be familiar with from Carol Services. We have lots of orders for that for people wanting it in large print and braille, so that's always quite a busy time. But since the new year, we've been back at work, lots of orders. Our holiday bookings have opened, which have made it really busy for those that are on the phones, because we've got 3 holidays this year. And I think within a week or maybe a week and a half of the phone lines opening for them, we'd sold half the places.
Wow.
So they're really quite popular.
Before we get on to the reason for today's conversation, just remind us about the holidays you've got. Who are they for, and how do people find out more? And maybe it's something that would be beneficial to them.
Yeah, so the holidays are group holidays for people who have experienced sight loss to some degree. So you don't have to be fully blind. It's open to people who are partially sighted as well. And especially people who maybe just wouldn't want to go away by themselves, but want to go away with other believers. So they're generally Christians who come, but not fully. You can totally come if you're not a Christian. But we do have time each morning where we spend some time in God's Word and discuss that together and sing songs. But we also have outings every day. The activities are all completely optional. So if people don't want to be part of the Bible times, that's completely fine. They're still very welcome to come on the trips with us. So they're happening this year in Poole, so near Bournemouth. So there's 2 separate weeks there, one in June and one in July, and also one in Northampton, which will involve a visit into Torch House as well. So that's one of the excursions. So people who want to go and meet the people that they talk to on the phones and help produce their things, that's one that I think people are particularly excited about.
Oh, that's lovely. The thing is, you speak to somebody in the phone, and it's not often the case that we get to actually meet them in person. I chatted to somebody the other day. Okay, so they're the executive director of the company, so I managed to Google it, find the team, and see their face after the phone call. But that's not that's not common. It's lovely, isn't it, that people who are using your phone service for whatever reason can actually meet the people on the other end of the phone. It helps connect the dots, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it does, and it's something. Often people phone up and they ask for prayer requests as well. So people that have been praying for them, and it's really encouraging for staff to meet the people that we've been praying for and that we've been producing things for, because I think it can feel quite repetitive sometimes, and the production of braille and large print. And then when you meet the people and you're reminded of who the people are that we're doing this for, suddenly it just gives you more energy again.
Which we all need, because we can get stuck into, I suppose, just the job, the focus. I'm going to do this. I've got X to do, and I've got to email so and so, and I'm going to create that. And it's very easy, whatever our sphere of ministry or life, to kind of forget the people that we're serving. The reason for those emails and those meetings, which are really important. Actually, there are people, but it's easy to sort of lose sight of who it is we're serving. Not because we're nasty, malicious, just we're human. We kind of we get stuck into wanting to do such a good job, we can forget who we're doing that good job for.
Yeah, exactly.
And it happens to all of us. Happens on the radio because we don't get to see people. So, we're serving people. Now, you are here today to talk about your podcast, your latest podcast creation. So just give us a little bit of overview, because I know you had one in the past and this is a new project. But let's just work out from the start, what's it called and what's it about? And we'll work out how it came to be and what people can expect and all that stuff.
So it's called Blind Faith, and it is interviews with people who have experience of sight loss, and also people who some of them are Christians, some of them aren't, but all of them have been considering Jesus as part of their spiritual journey when they're alongside their journey of losing their sight or have been born blind.
So that's a little bit of an overview of what we can expect. When does it actually start being output broadcast? When are the first? I'm trying to work out how to say it. When are the first episodes available? That's a better way of saying it.
I think what the cool kids say is the episodes drop. I think it's a drop. I'm not sure I'm cool enough to say that, but yeah, the first 2 episodes are released on the 1st of February, which is 2 interviews with 2 different people. So Trevor and Emma, who've got 2 very different stories. Trevor's story is amazing because he did go fully blind, but then has had his sight restored. And so there's
Trevor Stammers.
Yeah, Trevor Stammers, yeah, who actually we got to know Trevor Stammers because of Pure 24/7. That's how we got linked up with him. So yeah, so that's an amazing story. But then there's also Emma, who has been born blind. And she, again, has an incredible story of just what it means to be living and how knowing Jesus has helped her. One of the things she said, I can't remember if it's in the podcast or not, if it was something else we did, but one thing she said is that she loves the fact she's blind because it means she knows Jesus more, because she's more dependent on him every day. But when she can't find something, she'll say, where's my hairbrush, Lord, help me. And that kind of everyday dependence, which I just really love. So they're the first 2 episodes that are coming out, and then there's another 14 episodes that follow.
Cool. Trevor is, I can sit and listen or chat with Trevor all day. I think we've done 3 or 4 interviews now, and I was really privileged. He'd not talked about his journey with sight loss. So it was quite dramatic and sudden, and then eventually was able to be resolved, which in itself is its own set of traumas. But we interviewed him about something completely different, and then he says, I think I might be willing to talk to you about this. So it was a real honor and a privilege to feel that he was safe enough with me to talk about it. And it's even big. I'm sort of almost crying there, thinking, great, he's talking to you as well. And it's just nice that we can encourage, and I love telling people, I'm crying now. I love that we can tell people's stories. And if I can encourage Trevor in that way and he feels safe with me, that he can now talk to you as well. I just, these stories are what make us and define us who we are. I love the story of Emma. Like, okay, God, I've lost my hairbrush. For me, I'll open my eyes and I'll go and find it. I'll see it. I know where I've been. If you're blind and you put it and it fell on the floor, it's not going to be where you left it. No. And unless you can actually kick it, you're not going to find it. So I love that dependence on Jesus, which is so precious for every single one of us. But I think all of us have got that very personal reason why we are choosing to depend on Jesus more. Yeah,
definitely. And I think that's what comes across in all the stories. The stories are all so different. There's similar themes, but they're very, very different. And people who have interviewed who aren't Christians, wouldn't call themselves Christians. Again, it's just actually seeing how sight kind of falls into what they've been thinking about faith. Like what we experience physically impacts how we experience things spiritually.
It's that holistic sense, but we don't necessarily, if we're fully sighted, we don't tend to think of our vision as being an obstacle to God, because we can see, right? So it's not a problem, but it's not until you have something which obviously now I can't see, or I can see only partially, or I can see but not over here, or there's so many degrees of it which I've been learning slowly. But it's easy when you can see everything to think you've got the full picture, but actually sometimes having the full picture can be blinding in its own way. Is that a bit too deep?
I bet it's quite deep, but I think it's true, because I think it gives us a false sense of security that we know everything and therefore we can do everything. But as humans, we're not created to know everything and do everything. We're created to be in a relationship with a loving God, and to not know things but to trust him. And that feels, I think it's absolutely anti everything that our culture tells us at the moment, is that we should be independent and need no one. It's like, no, you were created to know.
We're created to have people in our lives in different capacities. But I've heard this from a few different people of late, and they're saying the same thing. We are not designed to act autonomously for our entire lives. Yes, it's great that we can do things by ourselves. However, there's such beauty in dependence upon other people. That vulnerability, that relationship, the strength that comes from that is quite precious. And when I hear stories of that, I think, wow, this is God at work, because it is, like you say, absolutely countercultural, because independence. That's what we're going for. Raise your kids to be independent. I've never raised my kids to be independent. I don't want them to be dependent upon me and my wife either. I want them to be able to stand on their own 2 feet, but I want them to stand on their own 2 feet with other people because there's strength in numbers.
Exactly. Completely, there's strength in numbers.
Sounds like a really exciting podcast. How long are these episodes?
They're between 20 and 25 minutes, so they're not very long. They're being released on a Saturday, which I don't know if that's a good day or not, but the thinking behind that was it'd be on a Saturday and you can get up, make your weekend coffee or hot drink of choice and sit down for 20 minutes and listen, and then it's not there. But obviously they're available all week, but that's why we decided to launch on a Saturday.
But 20, 25 minutes to me is a lunch break. You can sit and have your lunch. You can switch on to your podcast. And that'll, there's a little suggestion from Andy B. Top tip. Get the podcast and listen on your lunch break. And then you could be drowning out the world around you and focus on something positive and good that's going to make you feel better at the end of your sandwich.
Well, that's the hope. They're also available on YouTube. So people rather watch them. We have them. They'll be on the Torch Trust YouTube channel as well.
Oh, fab. That's even better. Excuse me. Yeah, because we do interviews, obviously, like this one. And I love that people can hear it and they can go to the podcast channel later and listen again. But we also stick them on YouTube because sometimes it's nice to see the people, which is our first conversation. It's nice to see the people that we're actually talking to and meeting them in a different way. If you've got sight and you're able to do that, it's just nice to connect those dots, which is important because we are not living in a world on our own, which is great.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So Blind Faith, 1st of Feb. 25, 30 minutes an episode, which is brilliant. You can get those from wherever you get your podcast from, or of course YouTube from the Torch Trust YouTube channel. All of this, I'm assuming, I would hope, is on your website. So if people want to find out more about this Torch Trust in general, or specifically this podcast, where do they go to?
Torchtrust.org.
Torchtrust.org. Nice and simple, to the point.
It's a very simple one to remember. People ask me sometimes questions. I'm like, I don't know, but the website, that's one that I've got memorized.
And Annie B. Big Green Tick Gold Star, whatever it is. Dr. Trevor Stammers is one of the first two. A lovely, lovely man who you will enjoy. I don't know Emma, but I know Trevor and he's great. So if that's the sort of people you're talking to, it's going to be great. Can't recommend that enough from here at Pure. Sarah, thank you. What's 2025 looking? Apart from this new podcast, what else has 2025 got in store for Torch Trust?
I'm really excited. There's lots happening. So we also, as well as this podcast, we've got season 2 of another podcast coming out. So obviously you search Torch Trust on podcast spaces, you'll see older podcasts as well. So we've got another series coming out of more interviews with people, but with a different emphasis. But we also have my most exciting project launching at Easter. So often sight loss, we think of people who are older losing their sight, because 1 in 5 of us over the age of 65 will experience sight loss to some degree. But there's also still quite a substantial number of children each year. So 11,000 children live with sight loss every day in the UK. And so we've launched our first, for a long time, project specific for children. It's coming this Easter. So it is a lamb, which is fluffy and soft. So it's a soft toy that has an integrated player in it that you use. So you turn it on by squeezing its nose, and then you can change its volume by pressing pause and things. And it plays David Suchet, so Pharaoh himself, reading the Jesus Storybook Bible. Oh. So that's a free gift that's coming this Easter for any children in the UK who have diagnosed sight loss.
I'm already thinking that sounds amazing.
Oh, it is. They arrived yesterday in the office, and so there's a lot of excitement about the little lambs. Oh, brilliant.
I'm already got a little smile thinking, wow, that's going to be so much like tactile involvement and all that kind of, good. Yeah. Right. Sarah, thank you. I'm going to leave you to get on the rest of your day. Thank you for joining us, telling about this. Blind Faith, new podcast coming out by Torch Trust, 1st of February. 14 episodes in the season, 20 to 25 minute podcast. Go and find out more. Andy B recommendation from torchtrust.org, and you'll get everything you want and more. Sarah, thank you.
Thank you, Andy.
Pure 24/7 radio is listener supported, which means we are free, online and always pure because of the generous support of our listeners. If you would like to contribute financially, please visit pure247radio.org. If you'd like to find out how we use your money, please visit the Our Cost section. Any donation of any size will help keep us on air and broadcasting for free. Thank you.